Right. Okay. Did not expect this. I did not expect this. Um, did not expect this. Now, one thing I'm going to say straight away because I don't usually do videos like this, but this is something I want to talk about. If anyone is in the comments and they get disrespectful and they start being, you know what? I'm just going to bin you off. I don't have time for that. I like to create something here where people can have discussions, an honest discussion. If you're passionate and you don't agree, good. What I'm not going to do here is gatekeep what people think. If people really think we should have kept him, I get it. I'm part of that to some extent as well. I love the player. He's our biggest asset. He's a gem. He's a future star. Also, if you're on the other side and you think it's good and we should sell him, and that's fine, the fee's good and it's good for us, I get it. Like, you guys know me by now. I'm not going to sit here and gatekeep people's opinions of what they should think, what's right, what's wrong, what's the right opinion to have, what type of fan you are. You be what fan you want to be. That's what makes this fan base great. But don't go into the comments and come at me, okay? If you don't agree with it, brilliant. That's fine. But just don't get weird, because I know I've seen Twitter is crazy right now. Okay, let me just clarify that. Do not, or I will just... just stop. Don't. All right. Now, the biggest thing for me, the biggest problem and disappointment for me in all of this is the fact that it's come down to Archie Gray. And the reasons behind it I'll get into, but it's the fact that we've lost Archie Gray. He's the one that's had to go. He's the one we've had to push through. Archie Gray, our future star, the player everybody in the fan base loves, I think, more than anyone. He is, like, literally a product of Leeds United. His family are legendary at this club. The entire Gray name is everything to this club. The connection is everything. And it's the fact that, and by the way, this has come from credible journalists which have said this bit, which people like to leave out. It's the fact that he wants to stay next season, which breaks my little heart, to be honest. It does. Because in football, when you grow up, it's your dream to play for your boyhood club, the club you go every week to watch, the club that you sing to, the club that you watch every day, the heroes you have as a child are at that club. And to have someone, and this is said by the journalists, some of the journalists have said this bit, by the way, to have a situation where this young man, in actually this 18-year-old boy, by the way, wants to stay, has said that, yet the club are forcing you out. What is football at that point? Because, and this is what I hate about this sport, and I work in it, people, trust me, I know about this. Don't, people say, oh, it's the way it is. I know it is, but it still doesn't mean you're not allowed to speak about it and have an opinion about it. Football is usually the opposite, where these guys are just at your club for a bit, and the second a Prem club comes in, they're like, yeah, get me out. And we've got players that wanted that last season. Now, the fact that this is the opposite situation, where the player wants to stay at this club he loves for one more year at least and get us back to the Premier League. That's what the player wants. That's what the entire family wants. And now the club are not allowing that. That is the state of football. And that is saddening. That is saddening. I absolutely love Archie Gray. I'm not deluded. I know for a fact in 5 years' time, we could not have kept up with his trajectory. Maybe not even in 2 or 3 years' time. I'm aware. I know. I get it. Don't worry. That is true. We wouldn't have done. We wouldn't have done. But it's the fact that right now this situation has meant that we've had to sell, and that person that it's gone to is Archie Gray, which is very, very hurtful for me. The situation is strange because the fact that it's come down to him. Now, let's talk about how that's happened. Right, the fact, I keep saying the fact. We have to sell, clearly. That's obvious. We've had to sell before the deadline in literally a day. We've got an entire day tomorrow, that's it. We've had to sell. That's a fact. That's clear. That's been said. And I'm assuming that fee is around 30 million, right? So which assets do you have who you can get the money you need to sell? And I think the only two assets you can get close to that, I don't think Nonta would go for that. I don't think anyone would buy that. Is Somerville and Gray. All right, right now in the squad, that is it. That is it. So from that point of view, thinking, right, okay, we have to sell, right? That's clear. And you know the repercussions if we don't sell, by the way. So people saying the other side of it, the extreme side of the other side saying, this is as bad as it gets, this is terrible. No, the club have to sell someone. I wish in all my heart it wasn't Archie Gray and it was not in this situation where it seems like they are the ones, from what the journalists have said who are reporting this, they are the ones that wanted to sell and it wasn't Archie. That situation is off and I don't like that and I don't like it. And I know it's the way football works for people tell me, I know, all right? I'm trying to give a fair argument. I get it. But that situation is horrible. That is not good. The fact that teams around us that are now in a better position than us, and this is the morality of football, have cheated, spent over what they should have, not sold players, to break rules and gone up anyway or stayed up in the league, is also damning on the rules and how that PSR works. The fact that we're having to do this, sell our academy graduate for 35 million to apply to the rules, when other teams around us have broke the rules, and they're all, by the way, all them teams that broke those rules are all in the Premier League, and we're not. That hurts also. I don't like that. The rules of the game are wrong. They need fixing, clearly. The teams that cheated, look, they did it, and they're reaping the rewards. They might get a points deduction in the Premier League, but they're fine now. They got out of the Championship. The ones that came down, they got out of it. The ones that stayed in the Premier League are still there because the teams that came up couldn't compete with them anyway, regardless of the points deduction they got. But we've had to sell our best asset in 50 years, probably since James Milner. Our best young player since James Milner. That is sickening as well. Now, to argue that, I understand and I get that we have to sell a player. Okay? That is clear. These are the things that are clear. A player had to go, so we didn't get a points deduction. Right? No one wants that. So the people that are going really crazy, saying you shouldn't have done this, we had to sell someone or we'd be in big trouble. People comparing this ownership to people that literally got us down here, by the way. The reason we're down here is because of previous ownerships. We're in this situation where we have to sell because we stuck to the rules and because of previous ownerships. Okay? That's the fact. I'm sorry, that's the fact. The biggest thing for me is that it's Archie Gray. You look at players who last year clearly didn't want to be at the club, who are staying because their form wasn't good enough to get them a value high enough and get enough teams interested in buying them because, you know, they didn't play a lot of the season because of their start where they refused to play. Hurts because they're fine now. Well, they're not. They're still in the Championship. That's everywhere. But we've had to sell Archie Gray because of that. And if maybe those players, or, you know, I'm talking about, didn't do that and play consistently week in, week out and got the numbers they should have done in this league and performed at the level they should have done in this league throughout the league, then they might have been the ones, the players that don't want to be here, the player that doesn't want to be here, might have been the one we're selling now. Not Archie Gray. That hurts. I'm seeing people blame Farker. That's the biggest stretch I've ever seen, I'll be honest with you. It's a sporting situation. We didn't get promoted. Okay, right? So then, yeah. It is a tough one and it hurts a lot. I'm not going to sit here and completely burn everything to the ground. That's not the person I am. I'm extremely upset, as much as anyone, about the fact that we're going to have to lose Archie Gray, and I hate the fact that it's come to that and it never should have. I also don't like the fact that, and we'll find out more, I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will. But it's come so late. I can't help but think, is there not a situation where, put it this way, right? There would have been a meeting, obviously, a recruitment meeting on who might have to go. Who are the assets? They would have known the second we got the financial things in at the end of the Championship season, they would have known, obviously, like everyone else did, the situation, how much we need to raise. That would have been known. I saw the same person that started this rumour on Wacko also mentioned that Daniel Farke found out yesterday morning about the situation that Archie Gray was going to be sold. Now, I don't know whether that bit's true. That's a big statement here. I don't know if that's true. But if it is, because everything else said it's true, Daniel Farke should have known about this situation right at the end of the championship season during the meeting where they went through the assets who might have to be sold. Right? What's happening there? Does this affect Daniel Farke? If it's something that hasn't been told to him or said to him, of course it will. That is something that is wrong. You can't build around these big assets, these top players you have, and then a morning of before he's going, tell him, oh, by the way, we're selling this player. I hope for everything that's good, there was a conversation there, and that bit about Daniel Farke being shocked and surprised and angry wasn't a surprise on him. I hope that bit isn't true, because that's the biggest part. That's the biggest issue, because that can cause fallout. That can even cause worse things where the manager leaves. That could cause player fallouts. That can cause a lot of trust issues. So I hope that bit isn't true. I hope Daniel Farke knew this might be a possibility and he prepared for it. I hope the club prepared for it. Are we prepared for it? I hope we are. I hope we are. I'm not going to sit on here and burn everything down and say everything's over and this is that. The fact is we had to sell someone. It should not have come down to Archie Gray. That is also true. There's Somerville there who is a big asset. Why wasn't it him? Look, at the end of the day, you've got to just assume that the club won't have just gone, we just want to sell Archie, we don't like him. You've got to assume that the value wasn't met. And if that value is 30 million and we're putting the 30 million value on a player and Archie Gray isn't going, no one's meeting Somerville's valuation for that before the deadline tomorrow, then that leaves you with Archie Gray, because who else can you sell? Like I said, there's been months where they knew about this and they've had to deal with this. Could you maybe just slightly reduce Somerville's value, because you know that Archie Gray, if he stays in the Championship this season and does what he can do, next year you've got a player, if you're in the Premier League, who could be not only an unbelievable player for Leeds, but could be worth double what he is now. Right? That's what hurts. 35 million is a lot of money at this level. A lot. That's one of the top records. But the fact that we also know that he could be worth 60, 70 next season if we get promoted to the Premier League and a big team wants him, we have that right then. And that will happen, because that's the way it is. That hurts as well. Like I said, I hate the fact it's Archie Gray. I hate the fact that it's come to this. I really do. But it's clear we had to sell someone. And if it's that much, and we couldn't get rid of 2 or 3 players to make that amount, and we still needed to get rid of one big asset, you know, we were told about the investment from Red Bull and what that's done. I'm not too sure. It's not clear yet, is it? Let's be honest. You know, we were told that this could be the difference between keeping and selling a player. Maybe that player is someone else, right? The 2 guys I mentioned, the big assets, the other assets we have, Nanto, Somerville, I don't know. But he still thinks Somerville will go. The problem is, you know, that probably will happen. And then what does that mean now if it gets to a situation where the 490ers think, right, we've got Nanto and Somerville now, we don't have to sell them? What will they say about that? Will they have a problem with that? Will that cause more discourse like last year, like when one of them refused to play? You've got unhappy players, unhappy squad. There's so many bad sides to selling a player like Archie Gray, from the reaction of the fan base, and I've seen people gatekeeping it. Look, if people are extremely annoyed, let them be. People support the club differently to others. That's fine. Don't try and gatekeep what people think about this. It's absolutely fine to think anything, in my opinion, because there's discussions in each sector. You can look at each sector of it. That's what I'm trying to do. There's a lot of stuff I don't like about this. Do I think this is detrimental to the season? That, for me, purely depends on the rest of the window, how that goes, and the conversation and how much Farke knew about this. That's what that depends on for me. Because Archie Gray was an unbelievable player and would have been even better this season. Much better. But that 35 million, we reinvest that. Please, let's just, for 1 minute, be realistic. That is a lot of money that can really, really help a promotion side, a team wanting promotion. Huge money. If that means keeping another top asset, great. I don't think it does. I think that asset, Somerville, will still leave. We can probably ask for more now later on in the window because of the financial problems. But the point is, people, I don't like it. Of course I don't. I really don't. But it's happened. I'm not going to come on here and scream the house down. That's not me. I try and look at it, working in that environment. I try to look at it from the club's perspective financially. Think, well, we had to do it. The way it's done, the manner of it, I hate. People say that is football, that is sport. Yeah, it's horrible. There's sides of it that are disgusting and I don't like. That's why I just try and stick to my recruitment videos and don't get into all this stuff. But this one is important to me because it's a player that is Leeds United and wanted to stay. And that, like I said, there's people saying that he wanted to move. Read what the top journals are saying. Archie Gray was reluctant to leave. He wants to stay at the club. And it said Brentford, by the way, but it's also talked that there's other teams that could hijack it. It's a sad situation. I know people see comparing it to Bates and stuff. People, come on, let's stop. This, for me, will be fully discovered at the end of the window. The end of the window. Let's see what we look like at the end of the window. I might look at the squad at the end of the window and go, right, this is a squad that should destroy the league. Or not. And that's the point for me. It happened last year. I said, we'll bring players in. It's going to be later. And people call me naive. People call me everything under the sun. You don't know what you're talking about. All this rubbish. We're not signing anyone with skint. That's not true. Being skint is completely different to wanting to stick to the rules. Let's just clarify that. So I'm going to wait till the end of the window this time to get fully angry. If that is the case, I need to be, or happy. I'm not going to over-exaggerate. I never do. Well, I do. I just calm my thoughts before I get on camera, to be honest. And I try to look at it from everyone's perspective. That's just me. This is one of them. It really is. And there's definitely questions that need to be asked. I'm not going to gatekeep opinions. People do that. That ain't me. If you're annoyed and really angry, good. You have right to be. If you're not, I also get it. Call me on the fence. I don't care. That's how I look at sport. I'm in the game. I can't come on here and scream and shout. I've got to look at things from a perspective. I've got to. So I try and do that. So I hope you guys appreciate that. There's so many angles you can talk about in this. There's so many angles. I get it. And I hate it. And I don't get it all at the same time. That's the way it is. There's even more strenuous tension now on the recruitment and what that's done for the relationship with the manager. Which I hope has done nothing. Or else that is bad. Let's see. Let me know what you guys think. And remember, people, be respectful, or I just won't. Try to be as honest and as in the middle in this video and try and give both sides. That's important to me. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Peace.